You're just another statue in a stained dress, working for cameras and dirty coins. You stand aching as a fat man in shorts and stretched ankle socks mispronounces your town and fails to reproduce its accent. If you tickled his overhanging belly, would he laugh like Santa? This makes you think about how gelatine comes from dead cows. His companion takes a picture. As he poses, the belly pushes against your leg. It is disappointingly firm and more like rare steak than jelly. When it gets too late for shoppers to stop, you test out your limbs with a curator's care. The man with the briefcase, bowler, and Magritte green apple head shares a bottle and a cafe table while you both count your takings. He is kind and does not ask for pictures. He doesn't ask for much at all. He doesn't know how to say much, although he's learning. 3 months on this sprawling street has taught him how to swear, at least. His voice is thick, with suppressed inflections. You leave him to the last of the bottle and thank him in his own language. He smiles. It is the only word you've mastered. There is less money today. There are fewer tourists than last month, and those that are here do not seem to want to stop. The red satin hearts you give them in return for their coins don't seem to hold enough value. You wonder if you could change your costume. The steak-bellied man might have given more than the 3 small coins he forced from his pocket. Perhaps you have become tired and less convincing. This makes you think about peeling paint in seaside towns. Home is a low, hidden house in an alley between 2 cracked streets, and it is quiet, save a neighbour taking out her rubbish. She is gently startled when you open the gate and pads away when you appear. She wasn't going to say hello this time either. By the time you open the door and collect the post, the heating has clicked on and the world can be shut out. You wipe the last of your costume from your cheeks, brush your hair, and hang the dress with its stains back on the cupboard door. You watch the ceiling change colour with the evening. In the morning, it has changed back. Today is peace sign-making little girls and sniggering little boys. It is an old man in a grey coat and a woman with a purple hat. It is a blonde man in a blazer and a drunken boy with a satchel imitating the man with the briefcase and the apple head. He isn't very good and keeps falling. The man with the apple head looks over. You look back. This makes you wonder who those first people were, whose eyes met across a crowded room and gave rise to 1,000 aborted love poems. Maybe you shouldn't share a table and a bottle with him later. Maybe he has the wrong idea. You don't look at him again until lunchtime. One boy tries to look up your skirt. He is chased away by a man with a bottle of brandy who becomes annoyed that you don't seem to want to talk. You give him a tiny red satin heart from your pocket. He holds it in his palm, confused, then closes his fingers around it and raises his eyes to yours. They may once have been blue. The afternoon is a shop assistant in a boutique changing the window display. It is an argument between 2 lovers on the cobbles of the street in front of the apple-headed man. It is noticing that you can't feel your left foot. Home is still between 2 cracked streets. Your neighbour has no rubbish today. In the morning, you see that your dress has fallen from the hanger in the night. It is crumpled and the cotton damp, gathering the chill of the bathroom as you pull yourself head first into the day. The tile is cold and the soles of your feet throb. Today is a breeze on your right cheek and a numbness in your left hand. At lunchtime, you realize that you have almost run out of hearts. There might be some at home on the top shelf of the cupboard next to the photo. This afternoon is noticing that the numbness is creeping towards your elbow. Home is where you go after you buy more little red satin hearts from a shop that sells buttons and feathers. You spread them out on the duvet and count them. You wake up surrounded after dreaming about blood streaming away from your heart like thin satin ribbons. You wonder where all the little hearts that you've given to people are now. This makes you think about a giant spiderweb. You are still wearing the stained dress. You take it off to shower, collect the hearts from the duvet once they're clean, and then put the dress back on. The morning is art students and being drawn from a distance, and a delivery man getting lost, and photos and photos and photos and photos, and clink of coin and clink of coin and clink of coins, and photos and photos and The man with the apple head helps you pack up your things and lets you drink most of the bottle. Your shoulders and eyes ache. You don't count the coins until you get home. Then you count them again. This makes you think about the man with the 30 pieces of silver. In the morning, you wonder if you slept. Presumably you did because the dress has been hung on the cupboard door. Today, the man with the brandy comes back and brandishes the heart you gave him. He sways and falls asleep a little way from your feet, the heart still in his hand. This morning is the scream of sirens and the slap of feet on cobbles and a chase and the numbness in your belly. Now there is the scream of sirens and the slap of feet on cobbles and the chasing and the feet on cobbles and the chasing and the numbness in your belly this morning. Scream, siren, belly numbness, and it's scream of sirens cold, the numbness in your feet on cobbles as a chase goes by you, and it makes you think about the holiday that the two of you took in that European city, full of organic architecture, all flowing helixes and curves and improbable lines, and him saying how much he loved you, while you sat drinking bottles of pale lager in a square just a little too cold for locals, but just right for you, and a stranger took a full... As you drink your half of the bottle, the apple-headed man breaks the silence to show you a sketch of the man with the brandy drawn by one of the art students, given to him in return for a picture. You give him a red satin heart, and he says thank you and goodbye in your language. And it makes you think about that holiday in that European city just after the stranger took the second photo because the first one wasn't any good. The police had run between you, chasing someone quicker than they were. You both shared startled grins with the stranger and said polite and grateful goodbyes before going to watch the statues on the street that leads down to the beach. Your lips and knees are starting to crack. The numbness slips from one side to the other, slowly down from the neck and up from the feet. You don't ever seem to get the last of the makeup from the hairline. This reminds you of the blood left on your face after you cradled him in the street and the police swarmed round you, you with him cradled in your arms and bleeding on your dress. And it looked so realistic. It looked just like real blood. Home is a rectangle of duvet, and you try not to look at the cupboard or the ceiling. And you curl up carefully and dream of ribbons tied across his torso. If you need more hearts, you'll go back to the lady with the buttons and the feathers. The tourists drift away from the street as the breeze and your cheek get colder. Any movement in your lips will make them bleed. The first afternoon that you notice the apple-headed man is not at his pitch makes you think about the drawing he showed you. Every now and again he comes back, but without the briefcase. Usually on warm days when the art students want to draw and the shop assistants have finished their shift. He and the man with the brandy sit by your feet. You have no movement in your limbs, no hearts left in your pocket.